Well, let's cross over now and speak to Mr. Bismarck Rewane, CEO of Financial Derivatives Company, on the latest inflation figure. Good morning, Mr. Rewane. Thank you very much for joining us.
Good morning, Chimezi.
Now, you and your team had projected the inflation number for January will be down to 14.90% from 15.37%. However, the inflation came down just 0.24% lower from the late rate. Is this disappointing?
No, directionally we're accurate, and nominally we're just within the margin of error. In other words, inflation has come down for the 12th consecutive month as widely anticipated. Therefore, we are happy that we got the directional data right, but the nominal figures were just off mark, just marginally. But what is important is that it was in the right direction.
Now, do you think this drop is significant enough to make the MPC bring down the interest rate, perhaps when they meet next time?
Well, it is significant. 0.24% inflation drop is significant. Even 0.1, but 0.24 is quite significant. What is important is that cumulatively from in the last 12 months, inflation has come down by almost 3%, if not 3.25%. Now, and what is more important is that core inflation, which is inflation less seasonalities and less aberrational movements, is at 12%. So if you look at the policy rate of inflation, the monetary policy rate of 14%, it is 2% more or less higher than the core inflation rate, which will give comfort to any policymaker. However, we do know that the central bank doesn't have a quorum, and we are not likely to have this in the near term. So for now, the central bank has to look for other financial instruments to use to actually begin to improve and actually catalyze the monetary conditions, which are at this point still tight and restrictive.
So what financial instruments are you recommending there?
Well, what they've done and what is quite apparent to everybody is that the nominal interest rates on treasury bills have come down from around 18% to 13%, which is a significant move. The amount of instruments on offer have actually reduced, so you are having more than enough subscription. And we are seeing that the federal government of Nigeria is borrowing internationally to actually redeem some of the domestic debt. So basically, we are moving into a more stable, but more positive and more accommodative interest rate environment. So that is one thing. Secondly, what is also significant is that if you can show the slides up there, is that we are seeing urban inflation coming down much faster than rural inflation by about 0.96. In other words, if you are living in the city, like you and I do in Lagos, we are enjoying a slower rate of inflation than those in the rural areas. Why is this? This is because the price of diesel has actually declined significantly. About a year ago, diesel was in the upper 200s, but today it's 190 naira per liter. And so that's also significant. Compared to our other countries, African countries, our rate of inflation is declining, but it could be much faster. This decline could be much faster if we can increase output. What can increase output? Power supply. What can increase output is consistent production from the farms. And so if we don't have the herdsmen problem, if we don't have the Boko Haram problem, our farm output, which is positive, will begin to increase further. And compared to Angola has an inflation rate of 23%. We have an inflation rate of 15.13%. Angola floated its currency recently. We have stabilized and supported our currency at an intervention rate of 360. So by and large, the data looks positive, but the impact is still to be felt.
Now, looking at the food index, there seemed to be some kind of improvement, but the improvement we have seen, is it enough for us to cheer?
Yes. Look, the inflation in January is a beneficiary of the harvest period. We had the harvest in November, December. Also, inflation in January benefits from the carryover of the December excess, so that if you bought a bag of rice in December and you didn't finish it, you're not going to buy one again in January. So January, normally we see prices come down. And we also saw the PMI come down. So I think that all said, yes, it could have been better, but in economics, long term, we look for value. Short term, we look for direction. Direction is important at this point, and I think it's time to actually acknowledge that What's going to happen now is that in February, we are going to begin to see the delayed impact of the fuel scarcity, because we've had 3 incidents of fuel scarcity. In December, there was sporadic fuel scarcity in January, and we've seen some again in February. So this fuel scarcity will affect transport fares, which is the non-food basket. Will also affect the transportation costs for light vehicles. So I would say that as a data analyst, we are impressed and we are gladdened by this direction, but we need to do more, because we have not factored in 3 critical things. 1, the fact that the minimum wage will be reviewed sometime soon. 2, that money supply is increasing. And 3, that the currency could come under pressure if oil prices continue to decline the way we've seen it recently.
All right. Thank you very much for your time, Mr. Rewane. Ms. Mark Rewane, CEO of Financial Derivatives Company. We'll take a quick break, and when we return, we'll look at the equities market performance so far. Just stay with us.